All right, everybody. Today we have another interview. I'm excited to have Cailie here. Brief introduction. Cailie grew up in Kansas, had quite a bit of success in high school. We'll talk about that. She then went on to go to Iowa State, had a ton of success there, multiple time All American, 13-time conference champion. She joined Minnesota Dis Elite in September of 2023. So excited to hear her story of running and some of what makes her a successful runner and what she has to share with those who are looking to be successful. All right, Cailie, first off, thanks for being on the channel.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, so just briefly tell us your hometown and kind of where that is in the state.
Yeah, I say my hometown is Girard, Kansas. I live out in the country in Erie, but went to school and grew up in the town of Girard. It's in the southeast corner in Kansas, so just about 40 minutes either way from Oklahoma and Missouri, down in the bottom corner of Kansas there.
All right, good stuff. All right, so like we like to ask everybody, jumping right into it, how'd you get into the sport of distance running?
Yeah, so my parents met on their college cross country and track and field team. So I grew up at track practice and around the sport a lot, but it wasn't until I transferred schools in third grade and my elementary PE teacher, Mr. Weens, encouraged everybody to do Hershey's track and field. And he said if you made it far enough, you could go to a chocolate factory. So I like to say that was my main motivation, but ran the 400 there and really for some reason liked the feeling of like being really tired after the race, found it really gratifying. So, and then also I really looked up to the high school girls on my dad's cross country and track team when I was in like third and fourth grade. They let me like tag along on runs and I just looked up to them. So I just wanted to be like them one day and do that sport.
Awesome, good way to get into the sport.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk briefly. How did high school go? What success did you have in high school?
Yeah, I think being from a smaller town, you can see immediate success because you race against a lot of like smaller schools right away. But I was also pretty lucky in high school that the state of Kansas had several of the best distance runners that it's had in the history, in Emily Venters and Molly Bourne while I was there. So I think a lot of my PRs while I was in high school, they were involved in that race. And so just being able to like put my sights higher and really kind of see a bigger picture beyond just like what I could see in some smaller town races was really good for me. But yeah, I think in high school, I mostly focused on the mile. So I had to like work my way into loving the 2 mile and longer distances. But yeah, any specific?
Yeah, do you have any like all-state, state titles, anything like that?
Yeah, I think 11 state titles, 4 in cross country, and then 1 in the 800, but the others were all in the mile and 2 mile, kind of spattered about at state. So in Kansas, there's 6 classes. So I know like in Minnesota and other states, there's 2 and it can be more competitive. And Kansas is still very competitive, but you have 6 classes with 6 state champions every year. So it was kind of cool because I grew up next to 2 other small towns, and one was 1A and one was 3A. So I would run with 2 other girls all the time that just happened to be like the 1A state champion and the 3A state champion. So yeah, it was kind of cool to grow up in that environment where Kansas gave a lot of people opportunities to be successful. I raced in 4A, and then like Molly Bourne and Emily Venters, who I mentioned earlier, were both in 6A, which is the largest class. So I always kind of had a chip on my shoulder. I wanted to like run faster than the bigger schools, being from a smaller class. But yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So after all that success in high school, I'll mention in the intro, that you went to Iowa State. What went into that decision, and what other schools did you look into besides Iowa State?
Yeah, I kind of decided I wanted to be driving distance from home, and I'm very lucky that in the Midwest there's lots of good distance running schools. So the 3 schools I visited officially were Arkansas, Oklahoma State, and Iowa State. I also unofficially looked at the University of Minnesota in Tulsa, and a little bit at Adams State and Pittsburgh State, which were Division II schools. But it was really, I think I really value the people I spend my time around, and the coach and the girls at on the Iowa State team. When I went on my visit, I just like immediately felt like I fit in really well, and that these are the people I wanted to spend my time around every day. That coach had a lot of belief in me, and and spoke a lot of belief into me too. So I really appreciated that. I felt like it was a place where I could accomplish like really big things, but also loved the team environment and culture. And then I had a lot of people give me advice that wherever you choose to go to college, make sure you'd be happy there, even if, you know, if you got injured or you didn't have running. And for me, like the kinesiology program at Iowa State fit my interests really well, and I just loved the campus there. So even though I like loved Coach Hop at the University of Minnesota at the time, like I just couldn't see myself walking around on that campus environment every day. I liked that Iowa State was like it's all in one block and kind of an agriculture land grant university. So it was a good fit for me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I like how you mentioned that it's more than just maybe running or the name. I think a lot of high schoolers nowadays, or maybe even when you and I were in high school looking to go somewhere, but people get caught up in, I think, the wrong thing. So it's good that you value the people that's there instead of just the name or other external things besides the people. That's what makes it important. So a lot of success at Iowa State. What kind of was some driving factors there? Was that something you knew going in? You said, I'm going to try to win all these conference titles and get all Americans, or did that just kind of enjoyed it and all that kind of came with it?
Yeah, I did. Like, I remember as a senior in college, I made like a bucket list for my college experience, and I put winning a Big 12 title on there and being an All-American on there. But I think I saw myself doing that more as a senior, so it was kind of exciting when I won a Big 12 title as a sophomore in cross country. And so I think it was kind of shifted my perspective of what I was capable of, which was cool. I think it was a exciting experience. It didn't mean there didn't come with ups and downs in the sport. I think sometimes when you're young and you have immediate success, you're like, now I'm on this straight path to like being an Olympian, and it didn't go exactly like that. But I'm really grateful for those experiences. I think, I got to race a lot of great competitors in the Big 12 conference, and so, I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, good. Was there any teammate or two that had a big factor in that really encouraged you or motivated you along the way that you want to mention?
Yeah, definitely. Current MDE teammate Annie Frisbee she had very similar goals, and she was a junior when I came in as a freshman, so she wanted to win Big 12 titles. She wanted to be at nationals, and that was just kind of the culture of the team when I walked on. There was a lot of people like that, and even my class of freshmen really had high goals for themselves, and so it was cool to be in a culture like that. I can't remember if like 11 girls made it to nationals in track my first year to regionals, sorry, not nationals, my first year there. But I had a lot of it's hard to just like mention one. I had a lot of teammates encourage me. Jasmine Stabler, who was an All-American in the 800, was really intentional about being encouraging and just kind of inviting me to different things like FCA and getting involved with our team's culture. And then, I think as I got older, it's so hard to just mention one or two because I feel like the team culture was something I'm really grateful for. But I had a lot of teammates who really cared about each other, but also set the bar high and weren't afraid to put their goals out there, which was really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, still talking about your time at Iowa State, is there any particular race or season that really stands out to you? That's maybe your favorite, even if it doesn't have to be your best, but any particular one?
There's a lot. A lot of mine are in cross country for some reason. I think I really love the team aspect of cross country. It's hard to choose. I think I have my most recent one, kind of like a recency bias, is my last year of running cross country at Iowa State. Our team was ranked like 30th going into the season, and we kind of set our goals high anyway. At the beginning of the season, we sat down and said, like, we want to be a top 10 team at nationals, and I think we knew we had the pieces for that. We had transfer Ashley Tutt come in, and we knew what training we had put in over the summer. But it was actually my last collegiate cross country race in Tallahassee, Florida, NCAA's. Everybody kind of put together a really good day to pull off a ninth place finish, and it was one of my personal best finishes at the national cross country meet. So it's a really special day. I think it kind of like stuck with that underdog mentality. At conference that year, we were ranked nowhere near Oklahoma State, but came within 1 point of them we lost to them by 1 point for the conference title. But then, checked the box to get through at regionals, and I just think like we put together a really cool season, and it all culminated in that top 10 finish at nationals, which was a goal of mine since I was like started at Iowa State. So it was cool to get that done in my last collegiate cross country race. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really special. That's what one thing unique about cross country is the individual aspect is 100% there, as well as it's 100% a team sport. So that's cool that you got experience of that, and that y'all got it done at the national meet. And Iowa State's definitely a slept on program, men and women, even though time after time you get it done. So that's awesome to hear. So one thing I want to touch on is kind of the mental aspect of the sport. You've been consistent as a whole. Obviously, you've had some like you said, some ups and downs, but overall a really consistent and good running career from a young age. What kind of goes into that mentally to keep going and keep being successful?
Yeah, I think my dad helped me lay a good mental foundation as my high school coach. It's kind of cool to have your dad as a coach because like they watched you grow up from a kid, so they know things about you that other people have to learn over time and stuff. But something he always said to me, I think it was like to ease my nerves before a race, is like, all you can do is your best. And he knew my faith was important to me, so he'd say like, listen, like it's not all in your control. Like, God has a plan for you, and all you can do is go out there and run your hardest and do your best every time. So I think I always just try to remember that. Like it always boils down to like putting forth like your fullest effort, and sometimes that leads to the great results that you've been dreaming of, and sometimes it doesn't. But I think consistency is also just something that he taught me to value. Like, being consistent over time, just like putting in. I think sometimes like we want to see the flashy results, and we want to like you can get motivated to work extra hard, but being healthy and being consistent over time and just seeking that improvement in yourself is something I've valued. So yeah, I think that mindset that he put in me from a young age has been really impactful.
Yeah, that's a good way to approach it. No surprise you've had success with that mindset. So briefly, I want to talk about you joining Minnesota Disc Elite. So kind of maybe multi-level question here. Like, at one point in college, did you want or make the decision you wanted to keep running after college? And then once you finished up with your eligibility, what groups did you look into, and kind of how'd that process go? And then why you made the decision to come here to Minnesota join Minnesota Disc Elite?
Yeah, I think like a lot of people in the post-collegiate world, like you get to the end of your college career and you're like, I just know there's more in there, and I want to like have the opportunity to shoot for that. I wasn't necessarily one of those people who was like, I want to be a pro from the time I from high school, the time I started college. It definitely crossed my mind a few times. And I talked with my coach, Amy Rudolph, was a professional athlete for, I think like 10, if not more years. And so I did run like a pretty good PR in the 5K as a sophomore. And she started to say like, if you continue on this trajectory, like you can choose any pro group. It was exciting that she had that belief in me. Ultimately, in my college career, faced some injuries and finished my career with a PR just about 4 seconds faster than that initial 5K that I ran as a sophomore. And so towards the end there, I was like, oh, is this going to be an option? What kind of opportunities are going to be there? But I ultimately decided no matter what opportunities were there, that nobody could stop me from putting on my running shoes, going out the door and entering races. And so it's like, I just want to do that. I want to see if there's more in there. So part of that was choosing to do a fifth year and a sixth year at Iowa State. I got injured right before track season in my fifth year, and I was planning to be done with school. I wasn't planning to do a master's degree, but I had like dreams going into that season that I wanted the opportunity to pursue. I didn't want to end my career on an injury, and so came back for a sixth year. And when I did that, I didn't have cross country that first year, and then I started a 2 years master's program. So that gave me that next year to kind of dabble in the world of pro running and see if I liked it, see if I wanted to like dedicate that much of myself just to running, because I've always been a person who likes to have a little bit of balance, like something going on outside of running. But I had a lot of people tell me like sometimes I overdid that. Like I like to overcommit to things, or like spread a little too thin. And so I decided I wanted to give myself the shot to put as much attention and time into running as I can to see if it would lead to improvement and like kind of that unfinished business I mentioned in the beginning. My coach, Amy Rudolph, played a big part in that. She helped me navigate the different teams to visit, and I visited Minnesota Distance Elite during that 6th year in college when I knew I was still going to be at Iowa State for a while longer, but I knew I wanted to start preparing for what I was going to do after I graduated. And I spoke to a lot of other teams because I had that like almost 2-year block to kind of think about it and look into other schools. So also visited Zap Endurance out in North Carolina, Puma Elite also out in North Carolina, and then spoke to some other coaches. I kind of reached out to everybody because I didn't know what kind of opportunities would be there or what that would look like. So I just kind of wanted to learn about each program and see what would be a good fit. And Minnesota Distance Elite was one of my first visits, and I knew automatically that I loved it. Like I remember driving home and just being like, wow, I could really see myself there. And there were moments in my search where I was like, I could just like end it all right now and go to Minnesota Distance Elite. But I really wanted to look at all the options and see what kind of opportunity would work best. And ultimately, even after all the looking, it ended up being Minnesota Distance Elite and Coach Chris Lundstrom. I just really appreciated his methodical approach, and just his like demeanor and attitude was really impactful to me too. And then the team here, kind of like Iowa State, had a little bit more of a family feel, and I really appreciated that. So I also appreciated the opportunity to, like I said, I kind of like to have balance. And even though I was going to try not to work for a while, if I needed to pick up work because I thought it would make me a better athlete, I liked having that option here. So I haven't done that yet, but yeah, I think I liked the balance that this team brought as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have a similar experience of visiting Minnesota Distance Elite. I myself, I was a little hesitant. I was like, I've never been to Minnesota, but after the visit, I was like, unless something drastic changed, I'll probably go there. And then just talking to Coach Lundstrom, a lot of times when people visit, like since I've been on the team, like people before the visit's even over, they wanna join. Mm-hmm. So I think that says something about us here. I guess we got something going good.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you've raced a lot of races, obviously, in your life. You've run 1500s all the way up to the 10K. Is there a certain distance that feels more natural to you? You just feel more comfortable doing it? Mm-hmm.
I do like the 10K. It's become my favorite over time. I started in the 1500 in college, but quickly moved to the 5K and then was running the 10K by my sophomore year. And it was so different at first because when you run the 15, like it starts and ends so fast. But I liked the patient, but also like the grinding nature to a 10K. Like you have to be smart, but you know it's gonna be tough at some point, and just being ready for that. I like gradually fell in love with that race. So definitely the 10K. Yeah.
The 10K. All right. Yeah. I want to talk about training a little bit. What type of training do you like? Do you feel like you're more of higher mileage or kind of just moderate or cross train? What do you feel comfortable doing?
Yeah, I only generally cross train if I have to because of an injury or something. And I don't know if my mileage is considered like high for a pro or not, but I usually comfortably float around 70. After working with Coach Lundstrom, we're trying to get that like comfortable to be 85, and I've hit one or two 80s since getting here. But in college, I floated around 70 quite a bit too. So that's kind of my sweet spot, but I would like it to be higher, especially looking to run longer distances on the roads and then eventually the marathon. So building, but yeah, 70 about right now.
Okay, nice, yeah. So still talking about training, what type of workouts do you like doing the most?
Yeah, my favorite workout is mile repeats on the cross country course. I feel like I like miles because it's kind of easy to gain confidence from them for me. Like you can like run your high school PR in the middle of a mile repeats workout and just like appreciate how far you've come. But then like it's easy to see how that time translates. So I like how it's like a set distance that's easy to think about, but it's also longer. And usually like we do 6 to 7 of them. So it's more grinding, and especially on the cross course, you just, kind of put your head down and feel it out. So it's my favorite. Yeah.
So that's a good one. Is there any workout that you feel like you get a lot from, even if it's in the moment you don't like, but you know it's really helped you? Yeah,
I actually really disliked tempo runs starting college, but like that's your base, right? Like you got to be able to put together good tempos. So even though like I get more nervous for tempo runs than I should, I feel like, just because I think I started out doing broken tempos when I wasn't very good at them, because I think mentally they were challenging for me, just thinking about like going that fast for that long. But yeah, tempo runs are good, and I'm growing in my appreciation of them. So
Nice. Yeah. So let's see here. I want to talk about maybe recovery. Is there a certain I mean, obviously, training doesn't mean anything if you're not recovering from it.
Right.
So, what are kind of your go-to for recovering or helping speed up recovery?
Yeah, I think like there's a lot of different tools, and I try a lot of them, but number one is always got to be sleep. Like that's one of the most evidence-based recovery tools. So yeah, I try to get 9 hours of sleep right now. With travel and other things happening in life, like that fluctuates. But Coach Lendo has us keep our sleep log, and I always try to get at least 9 or more on the bottom of our weekly average. So definitely sleep.
Yeah. Do you like to nap, or you just try to just get a good night rest?
In college, I couldn't nap because I just felt like my brain had, like, I got to do my schoolwork. I had too many things going on. But that's been something that being a professional has allowed me to do more of. So even like longer naps. I've tried some like hour and a half long naps, tried to get like an extra REM cycle in. So yeah, I'd say I nap. If I don't have anything else going on, I'm going to nap like 4 to 5 days, if not all the days of the week right now. Yeah.
Okay, nice. Yeah, sleep. Can never go wrong with good sleep. And yeah, Coach having that sleep thing on the training log, it's nice. Sometimes you don't realize, and then when you
holds you accountable to it, you're like, oh, I got to write that down now.
See your average. It's kind of nice. I'm sure he enjoys seeing it, but nice for us too.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Where I want to take this. All right, yeah. So one thing I want to talk about is you've represented Team USA. Is it twice, I believe?
Once as a senior, and then twice as a freshman in college as a junior. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So what is that? Or briefly, kind of tell us where those were and kind of your experience with that.
My first one was in Edinburgh, Scotland. They have like an Edinburgh cross country classic, usually with like 3 or 4 teams from like England, Great Britain, the U.S. So that was my first international competition, and then that same year in track, they had a U20 in Finland, and so that I did the 3K and 5K there. And then this last one, my first like post-collegiate goal was to make a world cross team. So that took place in Belgrade, Serbia this past March. So those are the three times and locations.
Oh yeah, what were those experiences like? Was it kind of like a shocking, kind of a culture shock being somewhere else and being with Team USA, or did you feel like it was felt like a normal race?
There's differences. Like, I think almost all those races involved overnight flights. So like learning to sleep on an airplane, like sitting up. And yeah, in Finland, like their like rooms were different. You had like 3 beds and a bathroom, but like the shower pulled out. Like it was just a smaller space to live in, even though it didn't really impact our race any, but it's fun to see those small cultural differences. Like in Serbia, smoking is allowed in public places, so the lobby was like a cloud of smoke. So there's like little things that are cool to experience. And I think like having to learn to put in that long travel, but still like get rested up and feel prepared for the race has been a good experience. Like as a junior, I'm like, I hope these experiences can help me when I'm like trying to make senior teams down the road. But I also just think like, I don't ever take those experiences for granted. Like I wouldn't have been out of the country without those experiences, and just the opportunity to represent the United States. Like I greatly, I'm honored and appreciative of it every time it comes around. So having that kind of opportunity was really cool. I think my first 2 of those teams I was like running on injuries. So the best experience I had personally was when I was in Finland. I was able to score 1 point for Team USA in the 5K by placing 8th, and it was a really interesting race because you kind of get used to like how college races roll, and they're kind of similar tactically, but there was a girl from like Kenya and Ethiopia in that race, and they would like surge a 200 and slow a 200, so it was extremely uneven, which made it feel like just not good. But like it was cool. I was able to run a PR there, so it was still cool to come out of like a really uneven race and be able to like race people from other countries and see those different kind of racing styles and just learn from that experience. My experience in Scotland was a little disappointing. I was selected for the team like right after cross country, and it was kind of late. So I think like there was other selections, and I was down the list a little bit because they called and they're like, you need a passport by tomorrow, and like I didn't have a passport, so I had to like scramble to get one. But I injured the inside of my knee in the weight room, and so I'd been like taking time off and cross training a lot, so I just didn't have the fitness to be able to like I didn't score for the team there. And then I had I wanted to score in the top 4 in Serbia, but injured my back just like 5 or 6 days before leaving for the race, so it was a little too late to call in an alternate. So went and raced it anyway, and was.
All right, so moving forward with the rest of this season, still got several months here left of the outdoor season / road racing. What's kind of your goals that you're shooting for?
Yeah, I'd like to set some PRs on the track, so focusing on the 5K and the 10K. And then I would love to represent Puma and Minnesota Distance Elite at the U.S. Outdoor Championships, so working on earning a qualifier in the 10K for that event. But I'm also going to jump on the roads. I'll be at the 4-mile champs in Illinois, so got a little mix of both, and yeah, looking forward to it.
Awesome. Yeah, and one thing I do like to ask everybody, and then we'll get into some lightning questions here. But what would be your number one advice for a new runner, and whether that's like a middle school kid, a high school kid, or maybe just some adult that's new to running? What's your like number one advice?
Yeah, this is not very glamorous, but consistency over time. And I think one of the best ways to achieve that is to make sure you're enjoying it. I think running has been such a social sport and has added so many relationships to my life. So while it's exciting to chase big goals, like don't forget to like look around and enjoy the people that are around you and the moments that you're in.
All right, yeah, that is good advice. Hopefully some people will be listening and put that to practice. All right, so like I said, so let's do a lightning round. We got a few here. So just first thing that comes to your mind, your favorite post-race meal.
I love ice cream after a race. Like, yeah.
Can't go wrong with ice cream after a race. All right, let's see here. Your favorite city you've raced in.
Ooh, that's a tough one. Oh no. Favorite city. Honestly, the Edinburgh, Scotland race was really cool. It was like being in like The Hobbit or something. So
that is pretty cool. All right. Is there a go-to hype song before a workout?
Ooh, anything upbeat. I don't really have a go-to, but Cycle and Power playlist is still one of my favorites that Coach Amy created.
Awesome. All right. Let's see here. Is there any race that you dream of winning one day?
Ooh. I mean, yeah, I think there's lots of different races, and I think it would be really cool. I visualize myself like winning 10,000 on the track at like the Olympic trials, or winning a marathon would also be really cool. It's just hard to fathom right now, but I think that'd be amazing. Yeah.
All right. What's that just comes to mind, the hardest workout you've ever done?
Ooh. Altitude training was no joke, and we had a mile repeat session there, and I remember getting to like the third one and being like, I feel like I'm done right now, but got 3 more out of myself, so that was, yeah, tough but fun.
Yeah, I imagine. All right, do you have a favorite running quote?
Ooh, this is just recently I've been focusing on a quote by John Wooden. I think like when you're building back up after something, you kind of have to like define your definition of success for each one. So the quote was, success is doing everything, the peace of mind received from doing everything within your power to know that you did the best that you were capable of.
Okay, yeah, that's a good quote. He's got a lot of good quotes.
Yeah, a lot of wisdom.
He's got a lot of good stuff out there. All right, let's just say this is the last lightning question. If you weren't a runner, what sport would you do?
Ooh, basketball.
Basketball. Okay, fun stuff. All right, we'll call it there. Some good stuff. Hopefully the viewers have enjoyed a lot of good stuff to think about. A lot of people could apply to their running to get success, whatever that means to them. So thank you, Cailie.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
All right.